All right, everyone, welcome back. We're Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the Daily Fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the websites by plebs. Joining us today, fellow Bitcoiner and pleb, BTC Lurk. All right, we're diving into the numbers. Let's do it.
Number time! Number Time is brought to you by Bitcoin 2022. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference ever, hosted in sunny Miami Beach, Florida. And you can take advantage of the Simply Bitcoin promo code and the link down below for 10% off your tickets to Bitcoin 2022.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 718,365. The Bitcoin price, 43,820. Chain rewrite days, 746. Total public Lightning capacity, 3,335.49. I think that's a new all-time high, Nico, on that. Moscow time, 2282. Blocks to the halvening, 121,635. The numbers.
That is an all-time high. That is an all-time high for the Lightning Network capacity. It keeps crawling up, bro. That makes me ultra bullish. The Caca price is the distraction. You guys know the drill. But we have an awesome guest on the show today. We got BTC Lurk. He is a Bitcoin Zoomer. All these Zoomers, they're getting in so freaking early. He was on the panel with me at Bitcoin 2021 on the Toxic panel. And Lurk was one of the people on there alongside Dr. Bitcoin, Svetsky, and of course the legendary Nick Can't Mine. But anyways, Lurk, how have you been feeling with this consolidation, this frozen in time? Were you expecting 100K Bitcoin last year? What are your feelings about all that jazz?
No, I mean, of course, I don't know anybody that wasn't asking for that price. I think you got just ridiculed and you were like completely slaughtered all over Twitter or anywhere if you were saying anything otherwise. So, yes, I was definitely one of the part of the crew. But I mean, yeah, going back to that conference, that was a crazy time. Getting up on stage, that was definitely wild. So that was a cool experience for sure. But I mean, yeah, just like you said earlier, the price it's just all a bunch of noise. Really the entire goal is if you just have more sats like the next day or the week, realistically. And that's all you should really be focusing on, is trying to accumulate more.
Absolutely. That's the signal right there. The only thing that matters is not that portfolio price that you're looking, because everyone looks at it every single day. You got Blockfolio, you got all these apps, you look at it, you're like, oh man, I lost like 5 years salary. What the F is going on? But it's true. The only thing that really matters is, do you have more Bitcoin than the day before? Anyways, Phil, I got some very interesting data. Check this out. This is by BTC Times. They're a Bitcoin-only publication. U.S. Consumer Price Index, which we're going to talk about this in a few. CPI figures for December 2021 are in. The CPI for all urban consumers is added 0.5% month on month, 7% year on year. That is the highest. That is the largest 12-month increase since 1982. You know who got this right? The Bitcoiners did. You know who got this right? The two simpletons on YouTube. And you know who got this wrong? All the fiat economists. Paul Krugman, everyone. There's no inflation, transitory inflation. And then they have to admit that there's inflation. But check this out, and this is the reason that I wanted to cover it today. Bitcoin is trading 5% for the day at 43,977. So actually, Bitcoin went up when the CPI numbers got released. How interesting is that? Is Bitcoin becoming the hedge for inflation that it's been touting out? We've been screaming this. I haven't been screaming this, but I know that a lot of the legacy fiat economist people, the people on CNBC are always like, is Bitcoin a hedge for inflation? That looks like people are seeing it as a hedge for inflation. In fact, not only is it a hedge for inflation, it's opting out of inflation entirely. So, it depends on the way you look at it, of course. But anyways, isn't that interesting, Phil?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean that's really strange though, right? Of all things, the CPI numbers come out and Bitcoin pumps. Look, I think that we're gonna look, like we always say on the show, right? It's an emerging hybrid asset that we don't really understand fully, and as a result, right, as it grows, as we see data come in, right, sexy data like this, where two people that are not paid to look at this magically were able to figure out that this is what was going to happen just by actually paying attention to the news. Well, look, when this kind of data comes in, this is where we start to see Bitcoin's correlation or lack thereof to certain events, right? And we can choose to, decide that there's a pattern emerging or there isn't. But look, either way, I got to tell you, I know that we don't care about the Kaka price, but it was nice to see a nice little bump today. Some life, right? So it was good to see that. Again, it's not even necessarily about it like that it needs to go and do like 20,000, 20K dildos or something, but it's nice to see a heartbeat, right? It's nice to see a heartbeat.
This is true. Anyways, Lurk, did you notice that too? Because you're lurking around Bitcoin Twitter a lot.
No, I didn't notice that the CPI came out at 7%. I did think that was odd. But I mean, I do know that the Fed they're trying to say that they're going to cut rates 4 times in 2022, but we don't know how many times they're actually going to. I think the first time will happen, but then after that, they're going to realize like how bad it could be. So it's kind of just up in the air. Also, Bitcoin was down kind of recently a lot, so that could also help the pump. But I always like to not really kind of look at them like, oh, they're somewhat correlated, because I mean, in reality, they're really not. They're just a completely new asset, like Quinicker said. So it's always something new.
How do they stop? I'm just saying this like rhetorically for any one of us, but how do they stop inflation, right, without crashing the market? Like they can't do it. It's like either they continue to print and everybody just can't afford shit, right, and everything has to go up, or they don't, and many people become poor anyways because the markets are completely cratered.
That is the rock in a hard place that we've been covering, Phil, and no one has an answer. I've been paying attention. Kaiser's like, you can't stop the money printer because it's a Ponzi. Ron Paul's like, this is the crack up boob. Jack Dorsey is saying hyperinflation, or he tweeted hyperinflation, but right before he left Twitter, I might add, right? So it's like we all, Greg Foss, a bunch of other Mark Moss as well, like a lot of really well researched people are looking at this, and it's like there's no way out of this. There's absolutely no way out. Let's see how this plays out. But you know how you can protect yourself? Opt out. Buy yourself some Bitcoin. But anyways, Phil, it's time for the Daily Fail.
The Daily Fail is brought to you by Amber App. Check them out, amber.app. Buy the Schiff. That's right. You can stack sats every time Peter Schiff puts out a ridiculous tweet about Bitcoin. This is a Bitcoin stacking app. The link is down below.
Yellow. I don't know, man. I don't know if we'll ever hit 100K. What do you think?
Don't stop believing. Hodl to that feeling.
Okay, that's true. Don't stop believing. Anyways, say your bit.
Amber, the smart way to stack sats.
All right, got a couple of light fails, but fails nonetheless. First, we're going to dive into Rudy Havenstein's tweet right here. Okay, we were tagged by ICO Sonat in this one. Shout out to you, bud. Thanks again. Here we go. The most important chart for the economy today. And these are the XFOMC member speaking fees, right?
Oh my God. How is that not corruption? You notice that it started...
We're talking about people like Janet Yellen,
right?
Just so people know. No.
Just to give people contact. But did you see that in 2008, right when Bitcoin was created, Chancellor on the second bailout for banks, check that out. Check that out. That is corruption. There is no other word for that. Speaking fees, my ballsack. Okay, that is corruption. That is corruption at its finest. All right, sorry, Phil. I couldn't hold myself in.
When I saw this, I was like, that's a total fail. I mean, are you kidding me? That chart just looks just like the M2 money printing chart. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Very
Anyways.
interesting. You might be onto something there.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, so, all right, this is our actual fail of the day here, okay? I unfortunately do not remember the pleb who tagged me in this. I appreciate it. I'm super sorry. I suck. But let's take a look at this. I don't know who Jack Newald is, but let's take a look here. I tweet about altcoins, founder of Crypto Pragmatist, email newsletter, creating institutional grade altcoin research for retail investors. That right there, creating institutional grade altcoin research. Not doing it, creating it. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Let's create a narrative together here. Let's go. VE in brackets 3,3 could change DeFi forever. Nico, normally they have the great names. This is an awful name. No, this is not even catchy. This is not catchy at all. Okay, anyways, at Andre Kranji, Danielle Sesta, and Phantom FDN, for the people who don't know what Phantom is another shitcoin, have banded together to create a new secretive and highly anticipated project. Here's a thread of everything we know and some speculation on the protocol and how to play the trade. So, you see, this individual is setting up a shill, right? They're going to create some FOMO. Then they're going to tell you a story about why we need to be in on this shitcoin.
On the V33 that you can't even pronounce.
Well, we're about to find out what its name is, supposedly. We're not sure. Let's take a look, right? So here we go. They're creating the mystery. The token currently referred to as VE3,3 is speculated from the below censored image that it will be called Solid. Ooh. It will use the same VE, vote escrow. Okay, so now we learned what VE stands for, okay? Mechanics as protocols like Convex and Curve. And this is good. This is good right here. A staking dilution mechanics. This is where we get the 3,3 as Olympus Deo. All right. So they're using some of the mechanics from Olympus. This is a coin. This is actually a coin that forked, a Deo that forked from Olympus. Investors rug pulled after pouring $57 million into dog team Olympus Deo fork. After launching via Discord channel on October 28th, Anubis Deo, very good name, I might mind you, it is a good name, went on to raise roughly 13,256.4 ETH using Alchemist Coin's liquidity bootstrapping protocol, LBP, copper, whatever that means. However, the funds were unexpectedly sent to a different address roughly 20 hours into the liquidity bootstrapping protocol. So they bootstrap their liquidity with your money. Anyways, let's go back and continue on this story of absolute stupidity. So, a lot of times what happens is that people dump their liquidity, right? So we end up having, and everybody gets quote unquote rug pulled, except for the people that are in the know. So here we go. He's explaining, he's kind of explaining some of the security features here. The vote escrow, locking for a longer periods of time gives you higher rewards and a larger share in voting the governance of the protocol. But you have to lock and thus cannot sell your tokens. I want to know how many people are really paying attention to all the shitcoins they have and voting on all of the quote-unquote governance that's going on. I held many shitcoins. I never voted once. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Anyways, so now we just told you about the security, right? People can't dump. Now we're going to tell you the minimum value, all right? So this just lets you know that no matter what, this thing is worth something. The protocol is worth a minimum of its treasury value. It trades at a premium to this treasury value. Larger premium, higher APY. Okay, tokens rebase over time, giving you more tokens, but lowering the asset value backing each token. Fees get added to the treasury. So you remember what we were talking about yesterday, right? With the video with Vinay Gupta, and these essentially they have to create this liquidity and keep it there so that way people don't lose faith and don't end up not purchasing this garbage. So this part I found very interesting. You can't sell most VE tokens. They're stuck in your wallet. Check this out. And that's what we're talking about, these type of tokens, these vote escrow tokens. With this new protocol, though, they've got a solution. VE tokens become NFTs. Boom. A hash or unique hash that's tied to nothing that you pay for no reason. Meaning you can sell them on the open market. Suddenly, you've created a secondary market for locking governance tokens, a way to sell voting power. This is the punchline. Combine it all for an asset with, and this is it. If this doesn't make you FOMO, I don't know what will. A deflationary supply. You don't control the supply, can get issued at any time, but it's deflationary because they're burning them because of the stuff I just explained to you, okay? An ability to free float relative to treasury, whatever that means. A way to distribute fees directly, fees added to the treasury. No buybacks, burns, or distributions. You're supposed to care about this. And a secondary market for governance, right? We just explained to you that it's an NFT. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the other notable projects that were shilled by this person. We're talking about Constitution Deo. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a group of people that were trying to purchase the Constitution. Just quickly, I wanted to just go back and just remind everyone of what they were thinking. The core driver of the entire community was the idea of buying the US Constitution, but not actually buying it. As mentioned above, there were no discussions around what would happen if the sale would be completed successfully. The logistics of that had not been figured out at all, and people poured. They've only given back about 27 million. My point is that I just read to you how they had absolutely no clue what they were doing and no plan. And they raised that much money for something that they had no idea what it was going to do. Anyways, all right, let's just finish this up. This is this gentleman's it's his profile, it's his page, right? The Crypto Pragmatist. There's really very little, okay? Interested in promoting or collaboration? Email me at newsletter. All right, so guys, this person gets paid 2 shill shitcoins. That's my take. I think that this is ultra cringe to be creating these types of narratives. I think it's horrible. I think it's going to wreck people. And to be perfectly honest, I'm going to be very surprised if we don't end up recovering this story in 3 to 6 months. So,
like we always do. But the fascinating thing about this is, so I was reading, my morning row this. And I was listening, not reading, I was listening to The Creature from Jekyll Island. And one of the passages that he said was that they try to overcomplicate all this financial jargon so that the layman cannot understand it. And you see that in the old legacy financial world, with Wall Street, remember the mortgage-backed securities, who the F knows what that is. And you see this in the shitcoin realm as well. They use all these buzzwords and all these things about how this token is going to do that and this token's going to do that. But the reason that they do that is that to make you feel like they're experts, to make you feel that what you're buying is so complicated and so futuristic and it can do all these things, it could solve all these problems. But in reality, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to hide all the bullshit with complicated jargon. If you look at Bitcoin, it will sound complicated initially, but you spend a couple days, couple months in Bitcoin, you will understand everything. I have been in this space for 6 years, and I still have no fucking idea what Phil just said. Okay? All of that complicated shit, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? The entire time, I was like, what does that mean? There's this thing that they're trying to do this, and they're trying to do that, and you can't sell it, but if you got an NFT, you can sell it. And by the way, visit my website, check out my email, and we can promote more stuff as long as I get a cut. This is all bullshit. It's all meant to take away your Bitcoin. Stay away from it. Stick to the truth. And the truth is Bitcoin. Anyways, Lurk, were you just as confused as I was?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that he just the original one. It was the Olympus, I think it was. That was the trifecta of shitcoins. He added the higher APY. And then he also had the staking, which everyone loves. And then to top it all off, he had it can turn into an NFT. I mean, you can't get much shittier than that as a shitcoin. Like that's all 3 what you want. I mean, the guy's completely like a scammer. I mean, there's nothing else to it. He's asking you to go to his profile and everything. I mean, yeah, no, that was bad. That was really bad.
Dude, it was exactly that. It was a trifecta of shitcoin. It was all these shitcoins coming together to take your Bitcoin, because
it's just so shameless.
That's what all these things do. It's so shameless, man. It's all a scam. Just buy Bitcoin, opt out, buy yourself some actual sound money, not all this fraudulent shit that tries to make you think like it's sounder money. Don't fall into that trap. But anyways, Phil, it's time for the Daily Meme Review. The Daily Meme Review is brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's stories, articles, comics by toxic, savage Bitcoiners. Real Bitcoiners. Get yourself a copy of Citadel 21, but be quick about it because there's only 1,000 copies made per volume. So get your print of Citadel 21 today. All right, everybody. The first meme is brought to you by John Stewart Orange Pill. Check it out. It's a fortune teller. I see a small apartment. I see you alone. And a lot of shitcoins. Jesus, that is a lot of shitcoins. Absolutely hilarious. All right, next one by... This is Phil's alternative account. It's called Copper Nixon. Definitely go give him a follow. That's an inside joke. If you know, you know.
That screwed with me.
Now everyone thinks it's you. Okay. Anyways, that is Phil, by the way, guys. Okay. Anyways, what made you sell your Bitcoin? Kazakhstan. Me. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Absolutely hilarious. Okay. Next one is brought to us by. I can't pronounce your name, bro, but thank you. Dad, how come we're poor? I bought shitcoins in 2021. Fucking idiot, the little kid. All right, moving on to the next one. By Pubby, the legendary Pubby. Definitely go check out his Twitter spaces. They're epic. 1 hour here is 7 years on Earth. This is from Interstellar. We named the planet Bitcoin. Wow, that is good. Next one by Free Slave 06. Every time me, Bitcoin. Me, all available fiat. The dip.
It's so true.
Man, epic memes for today. And for that, I'm going to give it a giant ass fucking wrench. What about you, Phil? Yes,
I feel like
it's really big. What about you, Phil? What would you give those memes?
I feel like you're pulling a Phil score on that one. All right, check this out. I am going with, and those were awesome memes. This is what's left of my Lightning ATM, right? Sorry, my Lightning gumball machine.
Oh,
right. Had it fit with a relay. It had a microcontroller once upon a time, which I am now using on something else. But there you go.
Very, very cool. All right. Young Lurk, what would you give those memes?
Let's see. Good memes for sure. I definitely like them. I would give it this Michael Jordan shooting a basketball.
Oh, okay.
An action figure. It's just
The USA team uniform too.
Yeah.
The dream team. The dream team.
That was the dream team.
The dream team. Anyways, guys, we want to know, do you agree with our scores? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comment section. You guys know the drill. We say things that piss off central banks. So make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms like rumble.com and our personal favorite, bitcointv.com. They don't censor there because it's Bitcoin TV. And of course, join our Telegram group. Link us some Bitcoin memes to review. Because a Bitcoin meme review. Have them featured on the show. Link us some Bitcoin meme review. Do it right now. Do it right now. Anyways, Phil, it's time for the Daily News. The Daily News is brought to you by Cloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the 3D printed Bitcoin Freedom Grenade. Unscrews, you put your favorite hardware wallet, and you get it in your custom color of your choice. And the Bitcoin Honey Badger also opens up. You put your hardware wallet. Anyways, take advantage of the link down below for 5% off anything on the store, CryptoCloaks.com. Jack Ballers is once again going on Legacy Fiat TV. And he's absolutely slaying. I'm not gonna give you guys any context, and then we'll get into it. But anyways, let's check out what Jack Mallers had to say.
But one company is continuing its push to bring the crypto to countries around the world. Joining us now is Strike CEO Jack Mallers, the company announcing its expansion into Argentina today. Jack, it's great to have you back. This is a big deal, but do you think the government will be as receptive as El Salvador's was?
Yo, Kelly, Happy New Year. Let's change the world. No, I don't. Listen, Kelly, I'm not a government consultant. I'm here to change the world, push our species in a direction that I think will make the world a better place. And the El Salvadoran government aligned with the vision and thought Bitcoin was a useful tool for their citizens. The Argentine government, that's not my job. I'm just impressed with my team, impressed with Bitcoin and the tool set that we've been allowed for with what Satoshi created and making the world a better place. We're giving
All right, so I'm going to leave it right there. A lot of stuff to break down, but let's give some more context about what's actually happening with Strike in Argentina. So as you heard, Jack Mallers and the lady, I might add, she said crypto. Jack Mallers is trying to push crypto. No. He's trying to push Bitcoin, okay? So just want to clarify that. Anyways, to read the article by Bitcoin Magazine. Today, we launch a superior financial experience to a country that faces hyperinflation, predatory payment networks, and unusable cross-border transfers, Mallers tweeted on Tuesday. Today, we use the world's open monetary network, Bitcoin, to give hope to the people of Argentina. Mallers went, that's the key word there, guys, hope. Hope when before there was none. Mallers went on to explain that the country is plagued with a history of economic turmoil and uncertainty, something Bitcoin could help fix. The peer-to-peer monetary system with a limited and immutable supply of money enables Argentinians to hold sound money that gains in purchasing power, both in relation to the peso and the US dollar. A devaluating national currency impairs citizens' ability to save and hope, I added that part, for the future, while it quietly erodes the purchasing power through inflation. In the case of Argentina, annual inflation is currently already above 50% as the country struggles to emerge from a long-lasting recession. Now, I want you guys, I'm going to read the last paragraph again, okay? In the case of Argentina, annual inflation is currently already above 50% as the country struggles to emerge from a long-lasting recession. Jack Mallers understands this. And that is why when the lady asked him, if you're concerned about Argentinian officials going for this or not, you have to understand, if an Argentinian official is against this, they are against the well-being of their country. They do not have a choice. And let me tell you something else. When the money breaks, people don't care what your government has to say. What they care about is whether they're able to put food on the table or not. And that is what Jack Mallers is focused on. That's why he completely ignored that statement from that lady in the beginning. And that is why he was saying, I'm focusing on bringing an open monetary network to the rest of the world, one that cannot be debased, one that cannot be confiscated, and one that cannot be destroyed by bureaucrats in political positions of power. Absolutely strong-ass statement from Jack Mallers, super bullish on the people of Argentina because now they have a way to opt out, and because they have a way to opt out, they have hope for a better future. Phil?
I think it was a tweet that you read a couple of episodes ago where Nayib Bukele was going to, possibly, or I don't know if it was Nayib Bukele, but supposedly we are hearing rumors that 2 other countries are going to announce Bitcoin as legal tender. I think that's a very interesting article about Argentina. I think it's huge for Strike, right? That they're doing this. I just, not to bring like a dark shadow over this stuff, but like, look, we're plebs, right? And we see a whole bunch of people talking and we also talk. And, I noticed that every single time there's something good about Bitcoin, right? Like we talk about like El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. There's always people trying to drag shitcoins into it or trying to make it that like, oh, it's not really Bitcoin because they're using this garbage. And unfortunately, I already that Argentina news broke like not even 24 hours ago. I don't think.
Okay,
and
but
already,
hold on.
yes.
Let me stop you right there because to be fair, yes. And I'm going to get to this in the second part of the news segment.
Oh, okay.
So what we're seeing develop in Nigeria, in Argentina, in Turkey, which we're about to cover, is that people are adopting mostly Tether and stable coins and also Bitcoin, but it's mostly Tether because they have the false illusion that Tether is the stable coin. But as the US dollar, right, continues to lose its purchasing power, right, because of the record amount of inflation, the highest inflation in the last 40 years, right? people are going to start losing confidence in Tether because it's tied to the US dollar, and they're going to start looking at Bitcoin. But we have not reached that moment yet. I just wanted to clarify that.
No, that's awesome. And thank you for bringing that up. Not to mention the fact that Tether, if I'm not mistaken, is owned by Bitfinex. So it's technically, you're just, again, I know nobody wants to hear it. It hurts. It's a Chuck E. Cheese token. You know, like the second it's a company, I mean, again, you know, we always have this discussion. Anyways, the whole point is that I still think it's amazing for Bitcoin. I still think it's fantastic for the Strike network. It's going to help with its resilience, and it's growing. So that's really the main takeaway. A lot of this other stuff that, you know, I'm talking about is just a bunch of noise in the background, but it just pisses me off that we have to deal with that noise all the time. You know, that's all I'm saying.
It's part of the battle, man. This is why we have the daily fail on Simply Bitcoin to slay Phil, the shitcoin slayer. Anyways, Young Lurk, what are your thoughts on Strike moving to Argentina? Argentinians now having the ability to opt out, receive money from overseas without any Western Union sucking that 20% commission out of their own hard-earned money.
No, I think it's awesome. I mean, yeah, big thing for Strike to do that. That's a cool launch. It's actually pretty funny. In that interview, the woman asked another question too. She asked, so is Venezuela next? So she basically like puts him on the spot to try to like ask for another country basically. And he just answered it. Like he kind of like distracted it, and it was just like, everybody's next. And then another question later, another individual asked, I think he asked about the price. And so like all those questions are just terrible. The people that are kind of like asking that, they ask such like, I don't know, like normie questions basically. There's really nothing like backing like their actual reasoning for asking. They're just curious about the fiat like side of Bitcoin. So like those interviews are always kind of funny if you like listen to them closely. For Strike though, I mean, that's massive. We all know what kind of happened after he did that whole ordeal in El Salvador. Probably just a couple months now or a month later. Next thing you know, it'll be like a legal tender possibly in that country. So it's definitely pretty wild of where this could lead to. And then not to think that that's the only country that's going to be doing it probably in this year. I think there's definitely probably at least another one or two that'll probably pop up at some point. So, I mean, keep pushing for Strike. It's really cool to see. That project's pretty wild to think about.
Absolutely. Jack Ballers is absolutely changing the world. Now, let's pivot to something that we called on Simply Bitcoin. We told you guys this was going to happen. Turks, pile into Bitcoin and Tether to escape plunging lira. We told you guys this was going to happen, not because of the same reasons we buy Bitcoin in the West, but because people are buying Bitcoin out of necessity because they're trying to find a store of value. That's exactly why Argentinians would be interested in something like Bitcoin. Anyways, the article goes on to say, the Turkish Lira has become so volatile that Turks have ditched the local currency for assets with an even, I love this part, riskier reputation, cryptocurrencies. Let's go check out how much riskier this is. This isn't a shitcoin, I might add, okay? This is the Turkish Lira compared to Bitcoin. And yes, that number's correct. 99.4% down in 5 years. So let me read this again and just let me read it because of just how ridiculous this is. The Turkish Lira has become so volatile that the Turks have ditched the local currency for assets with an even riskier reputation. Cryptocurrencies. These guys are freaking stupid. Anyways, Phil, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that chart looks no different than any of the shitcoins that I had. The minus 99.4%. That's the same thing.
Oh man, it is a shitcoin. But let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it's the dollar. Okay, what does that say? 98.11%. So let me read this line one more time. The Turkish lira has become so volatile that the Turks have ditched the local currency for assets with an even riskier reputation. Cryptocurrencies. Ha! Anyways, while the lira unraveled against the dollar in the last quarter of 2021, cryptocurrency trading volumes using the lira leapt to an average of $1.8 billion a day across 3 exchanges, according to blockchain analysis firm Chainalysis. These volumes are still modest with compared with the result of a 2019 survey by the Bank of International Settlement. There's a conflict of interest there. Anyways, that found roughly 71 billion of lira transactions a day. So even though it's still a small amount, the signal is still spreading. I might add, though, it's the Bank of International Settlements doing that. So they hate Bitcoin. We know Augustin Carson. Anyways, but even so, are more than any of the it's still growing. It's still growing more than the last 5 quarters. It's still growing consistently. Turks are particularly enamored with, this is what I was telling you before, Phil, the stablecoin Tether, whose value is pegged to the dollar. The lira this fall became the most traded government-issued currency against Tether, outpacing the dollar and the euro, according to data provider Crypto Compare. Turks have long weathered spells of economic turmoil by keeping their money in US dollars, euros, and gold. The rise of cryptocurrencies in recent years have presented a new group of instruments in which to store wealth, albeit far more volatile. I'm going to pull this up again. Far more volatile. In which direction? Which direction? Anyways. Volatile. Let me keep my money in the dollar so it loses 98.4% against Bitcoin. So volatile. Anyways, these people are stupid. Anyways, it is the Wall Street Journal. It's the Wall Street Fiat Journal. Since September, the lira has lost 40% of its value against the dollar. Bitcoin initially jumped almost 40% against the dollar by early November, but it is now down more than 10%. In Istanbul, Turkey's largest city, in its commercial capital, ads for cryptocurrency exchanges appear on trams, billboards, and one of the city's 2 airports. Shops selling Bitcoin have cropped in the Grand Bazaar, tucked into alleys where traders also sell foreign currency and gold. Look at that. Bitcoin. There was a thing, Bitcoin. So all these peer-to-peer locations are popping out everywhere as people try to get rid of their lira fiat currency and go into Bitcoin. And this is the experience of a 27-year-old trader. And the reason I want to highlight this is because the revolution is happening from the ground up. It's really younger people that are adopting this. We saw the same thing in Afghanistan when Afghanistan was cut off from the global financial system. It was the young people that were more interested in Bitcoin. So anyways, it goes on to say, Turks have embraced cryptocurrencies despite an official ban introduced last year. We covered this. This is when the president declared war on crypto. The ban, which was unveiled without warning, of course, because he didn't want people fleeing their shitcoin, the lira, the fiat, created a traumatic experience in the Turkish cryptocurrency community, said Turan Surat, an advisor to Turkish cryptocurrency exchange. The government has promised a new cryptocurrency law will soon be sent to the country's parliament. But the point is, guys, is that the people did not listen, and this is why I wanted to point out this chart, right? This is July 11, 2020, 0.17 billion. This is today, $12.4 billion in Bitcoin transaction volume or cryptocurrency transaction volume. In October 30th, 2021, it hit 22.49 billion, and this comes from 0.17. So it's on the way up. And as the dollar continues to fail, right, the US inflation hits 7%. We know that the Fed cannot stop printing money without crashing the stock market. As the dollar loses its store of value, more and more people are going to flock to Bitcoin. And this is exactly what we predicted on this channel. We said that as the lira loses its value, people, because out of necessity, are going to flock to Bitcoin, and that's exactly what is happening. And even after Erdogan declared war on crypto and he made it illegal, the transaction volume still spiked up because you cannot stop peer-to-peer transactions. And most importantly, you can't stop somebody who's trying to put food on the table for their family. And that's the only thing they care about. They don't care about the patriotic spiel. They don't care about the BS that they're trying to pitch you. They care, am I going to be able to feed my family in 2 weeks or not? And Bitcoin is the solution for them, as we saw in Afghanistan, like we covered it, as we saw in Nigeria, as we're seeing in Turkey, and as we saw in my home country of Venezuela. People are fleeing to Bitcoin because it provides hope, and it takes away their local government's ability to debase their currency to ensure the survival of their bureaucracy at the expense of their citizens. Bitcoin is that hope, and it's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Phil?
Man, I got shivers on that one. Got some goosebumps on that. I felt it. And you're absolutely right. You know, all of this show, nobody gives a shit when it comes down to survival, right? You gotta shelter, food, and clothing. So you can't provide these things. It doesn't matter what rhetoric we get out of the government. Okay, it makes no difference at all. The other thing is, I'm kind of disappointed to hear that they're using Tether, but at the same time, it's just interesting that, you know, quote unquote, these disruptive, terrible, you know, cryptocurrencies are somehow less volatile than their actual government issued currency that just keeps going down. I mean, the only thing that is predictable and that we'll say is stable is the fact that we know it's trending to nothing in value. That's the only thing we can rely on for it. So I don't, it's just so sad that, you know, that's how the news portrays it. But I mean, again, we can't expect, you know, any different from those sources. But look, you know, going back to your original point about families needing to put food on the table, that's exactly right. And this is exactly what you said. That's why Bitcoin fixes this. We always talk about it's a world of incentives. And what's happening is these incentives are playing out in real time. People are going and willing to dump their money into a Chuck E. Cheese shitcoin and Bitcoin, of course, to effectively escape government, government stupidity. So I just... Anyways, we are in for interesting times, and I just see that number that you showed in terms of the volumes, right? It peaked at 22.4 billion and then has now gone down to like 12 something billion. You know what? I won't be surprised if we see the volumes going double that next year.
Dude, how could they not? It went from 0.17 billion and then it went all the way that's like a 12x, right? And this is why. This isn't why we buy Bitcoin in the West. We're just like revolution, you know, we're speculating under. These people are buying it out of necessity. That's what you have to understand. And the Tether thing, that's temporary. Because as the U.S. dollar as the legitimacy of the U.S. dollar starts to become in question, more and more people are going to look to the only thing that is capped. There's a capped supply. It can't be debased, and that is Bitcoin. So it's temporary that some people are in stable coins, but at least some of them are in Bitcoin. And I suspect as time goes on, more and more and more people will go into Bitcoin, especially after the US government captures these stable coins, because we are hearing rumblings from Congress saying that they need special licenses in that. So the US government is going to be able to capture these stable coins and perhaps exclude giant swaths of the population. And when that happens, the only option there is Bitcoin, right? So I'm very bullish. I'm happy for the people of Argentina. I'm happy for the people of Turkey. I'm happy for the people of Nigeria. I'm happy for the people of the world that live in totalitarian countries with high inflation. Now there's hope. Now there's a way to opt out. Lurk, why don't you wrap this up?
It's pretty funny. So that the analyst said it was 27, I think that was it. And kind of going back to your point, Nico, it's like, yeah, he's doing it out of a necessity to like put food on the table, or when it gets to that point. And when you look at people like that in that country, and then you look like people in the United States, and they're putting their life savings in teddy bear JPEGs, it's like, what are we even doing here? Like, they're not even on the same page. And these people are like not even realizing that it's going to end up being a necessity to hold your money in Bitcoin, because it's going to be the only one that is actually valuable. And these people don't realize, and they just continue to stock up on JPEGs of teddy bears and exotic looking animals. It's truly just like quite comical to like look at these two different types of people, because people that are 27 in the United States that I even know are doing the JPEG route. And it's like, you don't even own Bitcoin? He's like, no. I'm just like, what are you doing?
It's ridiculous. And let me read you what he actually had to say, because it is powerful. And it says, to quote the 27-year-old Kagan Sane, the senseless policies regarding rates, diminishing trust for published statistics regarding inflation and political decisions made Bitcoin and shitcoins a safe haven, even though cryptos, Bitcoin and shitcoins are rather risky and volatile financial assets. So people are willing, right, to trust these quote unquote. It's because they're new to this. They don't understand that the volatility, if you're in Bitcoin, goes up. It doesn't go down. It's not volatile on the way down. If you're in shitcoins, which is why we tell you not to buy shitcoins, which is why we tell you to stay away from stable coins, definitely volatile on the way down for sure. That's a fact. But if you stick to Bitcoin, yeah, there's going to be volatility, but it's always been on the way up. And we showed you the charts to prove it. Let's compare it to, apparently the most stable fiat currency. Let's pull it up one more time. The last 5 years, $1 is down 98.11% versus Bitcoin. So give me that volatility all day, every day, if it means that, right? But anyways, guys, wow, that was awesome. I'm so hopeful for the people of Turkey. You got Bitcoin. I'm so hopeful for the people of Argentina. Really cool stuff. We're going to keep covering this, guys, as the story develops. But anyways, Phil, there was an open source software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. The software releases are brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out, cyphersafe.io. They've got the Cypher wheel, which I usually show, but right now I got myself the Cypher Grid. Take a look at that. The best place to store your seed. It comes with the punch tool. The link is down below. We've got HexaWallet version 2.0.67 that was released. It's down below. Guys, tell you this every day, rain or shine, we post unless we tell you that we don't. To check out our audio-only episodes, go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Anchor.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, that was our show. Before we go, I want to give a very special shout-out to a legendary Bitcoin Zoomer. There's only a couple. There's Dylan LeClaire. There's Nick Can't Mine. There's Young Lurk. And Jack Mahlers doesn't count because he's a fucking alien. But the rest of them, yeah, definitely want to give these guys a follow. They're going to be some of the wealthiest people on the face of the planet in 10, 20 years' time. Absolutely. Definitely go give Young Lurk a follow. You can go find him on Twitter, BTC Lurk, and his handle is at YUNG Lurk _. Anyways, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fails from these shitcoin promoters and the fiat currencies and the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode.
Turkey, Argentina, who's next? Opt into Bitcoin.
Booyakasha!